Welcome to the second episode of Tall Talk Times, a podcast made by tall people for tall people.
Yes! Hooray!
Made it to podcast number 2, Tom.
Number 2. And listeners, if you're still here, I'm very proud of you. Well done.
I'm Letty Saunders.
And I'm Tom Garner.
And welcome to our podcast.
Yes. So I hear you have some news from the world of film, Letty.
I do.
Oh.
Tim Burton is making a remake of the 1958 film Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Attack of the 50-Foot Woman?
Yeah.
That's, I'm surprised that would be made these days with a title like that.
I don't know how he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Frankly, I can feel, I can hear the insults as I walk down the street the moment this film is released.
Oh dear. So what do you think? Do you think this would be a negative thing for tall women to have a high profile film made by a high profile director coming out like that?
I love Tim Burton.
Yeah.
I mean, I love his films.
Uh-huh.
He's one of my most favourite, fantastic, influential and creative filmmakers. So I really, really hope he puts a positive spin on it, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, before we started recording, you showed me the trailer for the original film.
Yeah.
And it was full of very 1950s kind of tropes of a grotesque monster stalks the streets. And it turns out the grotesque monster is just a giant, beautiful woman in a bikini. So their concept of what's grotesque is...
Quite a few men's fantasy, a giant woman in a bikini. And then yet she was called horrendous. And oh my God, the horror.
Yeah, grotesque and monstrous. I mean, it's... I don't know. It seemed I've never seen this film from the 50s, but it seems very, very much of its time, just based on the trailer. So I hope so. Maybe Tim Burton is going to make it an empowering tale.
I really hope so. I mean, there was a remake with Daryl Hannah.
Yes. When was it made?
I like black and white films, so I like to look for the original film. But see, he's set to direct, now he's finished Beetlejuice, he's set to direct this Attack of the 50-Foot Woman remake. It's a reimagination, apparently.
Okay.
So it was first done, as I say, in the 50s, but...
it's a long time to... I mean, you say there's a remake with Daryl Hannah.
Not another remake, please, is the general consensus from, well, the tall women I've spoken to.
Fair enough.
So anyway, that's the Hollywood.
Well, we shall await the release of this this remake with some anticipation and trepidation by the sounds of it.
I mean, obviously we have our events at Tall Talk Times.
Yes.
Not sure how many of us, I suppose we have to own it and empower ourselves and go.
Remember, everyone in Tall Talk Times and across the world are beautifully tall.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Maybe we should have a word with Tim.
Have a word with Tim and say, look, we're not monstrous or grotesque. We're actually beautifully tall, and we'd like your new film to reflect that. I'm sure he would listen with open ears.
I'm going to send him an email. I am. I'm going to send him an email.
You do that.
I'm going to say, hi, Mr. Burton. Can you be inclusive on the whole tool thing?
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes, Tom.
Well, do you mind if I leave that with you? I think I might.
Yeah. Oh, let's leave you with leave me with the email to Tim Burton about the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Yes.
Reminding him that whilst women are beautifully tall, and we are not monstrous, we are beautiful and tall. And
yes.
Beautifully tall. And we will we'll see what he comes back with. I can let you know on the next podcast.
Thank you. So you'll do that. I suppose I better do something historical. For 'tis my task for Tall Talk Times.
For it is your task with Tall Talk Times. There's his music.
Oh, a jingle. And so, to our second giant of history, which this week is something of a surprise contender. Yes, this week, against all the odds, it's Mary Queen of Scots.
I thought she was short.
You got a misconception here. Well, prepare to be amazed with a tall fact. Mary Queen of Scots, that pinnacle of 16th century history, she was 5'11".
Oh, just tall
in
enough
height.
for the group.
Just tall enough for the group, but that is extremely tall for the time she lived in.
So, if we'd had Tall Talk Times back in the, what year? So
1500s.
And a disapproving look. I don't know the year. 1500s. If we'd had a Tall Talk Times then,
yes,
we would have probably had to drop the height requirement for the women
considerably. So bizarrely, you were considered a tall woman if you were 5'4".
Oh no, that's crazy.
That is crazy. So Queen Mary would have been like a goddess in terms.
Tall women are goddesses.
You heard it here, and they're going to go into Mary's specific goddessness. Is that a word? Well, it is now. I've coined it. So I think it's time to provide some context on Queen Mary. So to begin at the beginning, Mary is born in 1542 at Linlithgow Palace in what's now West Lothian in Scotland.
So she was tall and Scottish.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I'm not going to do an accent. No, we'll leave that to the Scots. But she was Scottish. She was half French, which we'll come on to in a minute. But the first fascinating fact of her life is she became Queen of Scots. Do you want to guess what age she was? Have a little guess.
Honestly, she was beheaded in my uncle's village. So
in Fotheringay?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He used to live there.
But that was at the end. What about when do you think she became queen? At what age?
I don't want to embarrass myself. No, I think I fear I already have.
No, you won't. No,
15.
15. Okay. Bit younger than that.
8.
Even younger.
Oh, my goodness.
Go down.
2.
2?
Stop.
More?
Oh, no. Listeners, behave.
I'll give you one more guess.
She was 6 months old.
Well, get this. She was actually 6 days old.
Ah, see, I plucked the 6 from the air.
6 days old when she became the queen of an entire kingdom. Yeah, no, indeed. She was the only surviving legitimate child of King James V of Scotland, and he died young unexpectedly. And yeah...
was it really unexpectedly, or was it... It was unexpected.
Well, his forces were defeated in battle, and apparently he died shortly afterwards of a broken heart.
Unexpectedly died?
Yes. His 6-year-old daughter had a cunning plan to get rid of her dad. Yes.
A cunning plan? But was it more cunning than a cunning fox that had studied a degree of cunningness at Oxford University?
Oh, it wasn't. Oh, that's a good Blackadder reference,
Isn't
though.
it?
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I get to play with buttons when I do something good.
Yes. Well, listeners, the applause is artificial.
Thanks.
But I jest, of course. So yeah, she's clearly too young to rule as an infant and as a child, and so Mary was sent to live at the French royal court, while her mother, Mary of Guise, ruled Scotland as the regent. Now, the reason that Mary went to the French court was because she was betrothed to the heir to the French throne, Francis. And Mary was not just one queen, she was twice queen. So initially she was Queen of Scots and the Queen Consort of France.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she married Francis, so Francis became the King of France, and they married in 1558. But he only died 2 years later, which prompted Mary to return to Scotland in the early 1560s. Now, they would have looked a very odd couple because she was 5'11" and he was known to be very short.
So she was beautifully tall and he wasn't.
Exactly, yes, very... Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yes, that's exactly how the French responded at the time, with a wah sound effect. So she returns to Scotland, very young. She's still in her late teens, but she's old enough to rule by now.
Yeah.
And so she rules Scotland for 6 years during 1561 to 67. She's a devout Catholic, but Scotland has only just turned Protestant, and fervently so.
Okay.
And so she has a lot of problems with the clergy and her noblemen, who are also Protestant.
Okay.
But more importantly, she has terrible taste in men. I mean, terrible
no comment,
taste.
People.
Well, no, it's a historical fact, unfortunately, that she has terrible taste. So she remarries.
I feel you.
So she remarries a guy called Henry Lord Darnley. He's an Anglo-Scottish nobleman. He's the same age as her, but he's an immature drunkard. And
again, no comment.
And he's conspired to kill her favourite advisor. and he himself was then killed in a shady plot that Mary was implicated in.
Oh, was she?
Yeah. Yeah. So she's quite a character, is Mary. But Darnley has one use. He's the father of her only son, who later becomes James VI of Scotland.
One use.
One use, and one use only. One of history's most useless men.
Apart from the one child,
Apart from the one child who becomes king and unites the crowns of England and Scotland. But we'll ignore that.
Because he was a drunkard.
Yes.
And a bully.
So Mary then marries Lord Bothwell.
Oh, he sounds nice.
He's not nice. He's an unpopular man who was also involved in Darnley's murder.
Hence the awful taste in men.
Awful taste in men.
Does that go with being beautifully tall, I wonder?
Well, we'll come on to that possibly.
A poll on Facebook.
When she marries Bothwell, her nobles rise up against her, and she's forced to abdicate in favour of her son, James, who, like herself, was also a baby when he became monarch of Scotland. But Mary has to flee to England, where she's imprisoned by Queen Elizabeth I for 18 years.
18 years?
Yeah, so she rules Scotland for less than a decade, but she's imprisoned for almost 2 more.
Now, is it true, Tom, that she was put in some of the worst possible castles so she would die from the experience?
Partially. So she had to begin with, she had a semi-comfortable captivity, but because she's a charismatic person, partially due to her height and her beauty, as we'll come on to.
Beautifully tall.
There are lots of plots. She's like a rallying point for English Catholics.
Okay.
Because Mary does have a very strong claim to the English throne. She and Elizabeth are cousins. Their first cousins once removed. And because Elizabeth is childless, Mary is the heir presumptive
to
the throne of England. So lots of plots go around her. And so Elizabeth imprisons her in castles that are in the middle of England so that she can't escape abroad easily.
Okay.
And to make things worse, often these castles or manors are often filled with damp. They're quite unsanitary. They're not comfortable experiences. And Mary chafes against this all the time because she's an anointed queen. She expects the best.
Yeah.
And she hates being a prisoner. And so eventually she's uncovered for plotting against Elizabeth in 1586. And it's a plot to kill Elizabeth. So it's technically a form of treason. And so she's tried and beheaded on Elizabeth's orders in 1587 at Fotheringay Castle, where your
and actually,
relatives are from.
We had lunch at the pub there. Brilliant. And
Bad history, good pub.
Bad history, good pub.
Yes.
No, but my uncle pointed out see that window up there, Letty? I'm like, yeah. That window is the room where the Axeman stayed.
Oh, wow.
And I, like, really, yeah, he said it wasn't very good because he took a few goes, didn't he?
3 blows, yeah.
She was alive.
Yeah.
For gruesome bit of history.
Yes, very, very
gruesome history.
Gruesome history with heavy metal vibes. Yes. Obviously, we're making light of a pretty horrific event.
It doesn't sit well.
There's an interesting coda, though, to her story. So Elizabeth famously regretted ordering the execution of a fellow anointed queen. And when Elizabeth died eventually in 1603, she was succeeded by Mary's son, James. And he's already James VI of Scotland.
Was he tall?
No, he was not. But James becomes James I of England, and he's the first king of England and Scotland combined, and that's the situation that we still have today. It's called the Union of the Crowns. So we've talked about her tumultuous life, but then she's beautifully tall.
Yes.
And she was known as a very beautiful woman.
That wouldn't have upset Queen Elizabeth.
Well, Elizabeth often asked her ambassadors, "How beautiful is she?" She was clearly, they never met, but she would get reports about what Mary looked like and how she interacted with people, and she formed a jealousy from afar, so to speak.
Wow.
So it's politics, but it's also very personal.
Was she jealous of Mary's height?
Quite possibly, yeah. Because it came as part of a package. But her beauty is one of the main things. When she married Francis II, when she was only 16, she was described by the French as la plus parfaite, which means the most perfect.
Oh, and
perfect. And the adoration continued throughout her life. Even her opposers in Scotland, like there's a Protestant reformer called John Knox, and he bitterly opposed it. He'd have stand-up rows with her, but even he praised her pleasing features in his words. But I think her height would have come along with that. Certainly, because she was tall, she was beautiful, she had, and Elizabeth was pretty herself, but she didn't have the height.
No, see, she wasn't.
No.
Queen Mary wasn't short and dumpy.
No, exactly. And I do wonder if whether her height was partially inherited. Well, obviously we were a makeup of genetics, but interestingly, she was the great-great-granddaughter of King Edward IV of England. Now, he himself was 6'4".
Okay, really tall in those
Really
times.
tall in those. So I wonder if, even though he was quite a distant ancestor, that some of that would have come down into Mary's gene pool, and hence why she was 5'11".
Well, I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, and I do have a final fact, an interesting fact. So Mary, because she's so famous, she's been portrayed lots of times on stage and on screen. On film, she's been portrayed by Saoirse Ronan and Samantha Morton, for example.
Yeah.
But her most accurate portrayal was in the 1971 film called Mary Queen of Scots, where she was played by Vanessa Redgrave opposite Glenda Jackson as Elizabeth I.
Wow.
Now, Redgrave was not only Oscar nominated as Best Actress for her performance, most intriguingly, Redgrave is the same height as the real Mary. So
5'10".
5'11".
Oh, 5'11".
Yeah. So Vanessa Redgrave is the most historically accurate woman to have portrayed Mary Queen of Scots.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So there you go. I mean, a surprising choice, but fascinating story.
Tom, thank you so much for the history section.
Thank you.
Tool history.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Tool Talk Times. Tool history.
And now it is time for Tool Topics. So, Letty, what have you got for this week for Tool Topics? Oh,
We have, I know, a new one.
a new.
I've been waiting to press that.
This is all very jolly. So what have you got for us this week?
So, tool adaptations, changes that we make as tool people to our environment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, have you, Tom, made any changes at all to your home or your working environment due to your height?
Oh yeah, I mean, so many that it almost becomes subconscious. Well, for example, my bed is it's pretty much tailor-made.
Really?
Yeah, because I've got extremely long legs. Inside leg 38 inches. I mean, that's a long leg.
Yeah, I'm 36.
Yeah,
Going on to 37, but 38-inch inside leg.
So I have the problem of like my feet dangling over the edge of most beds if they haven't got like one of those annoying boards at the front.
The footboard.
The dreaded foot.
Hate the footboard.
Very good. So my bed is means I don't have to dangle, which is delightful. It really is. So there's that. I mean, I also work remotely, so I have to have a laptop stand.
Yeah, the laptop stand, everything ergonomically, really. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking at Tom now, and there's no sign of a laptop stand.
Well, there is. It's here.
Well, lovely. Background noise. Perfect.
A bit of metallic back.
A bit of metallic background noise for you. It's true. That's not a sound effect, dear tool listeners. So one of the things that I do, because Tom, you've met my eldest, Oscar.
That's what I have. Yeah.
Yeah, and he is now 6'6".
Yeah.
And together with my other beautifully tall son, Merlin, beautifully tall son, Merlin.
Not that she's biased at all.
Oh, honestly, the girlfriends, please.
Yeah.
But they're so very tall, and I cook everything at home. So I have to I was at a choice of either making the kitchen, raising up the kitchen, or finding a fix for a chopping board to stop me leaning forward, because I've had back surgery and I have some arthritis, and frankly, I spend so long in the kitchen cooking food because they've got such a calorific requirement to keep them tall and well fed and beautiful. So I have a 2-inch slab of marble that I have on my worktop, and then I put my chopping board on top of that. So yeah, I don't have the budget of raising the kitchen. But you say that people that are going to not move as much as me, having a custom-made kitchen is their luxury. They would forego one holiday to make sure that kitchen was the right height.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'd love a tool kitchen myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the dream. But that's the thing. As tool people, we have to think about these things. Yeah, I mean, I'm forever having to bend down on my shelf, on my work surfaces in my kitchen.
Right, I'm going to get you a piece of marble, Tom.
Well, you see, this is where I had a good adaptation. So during the pandemic, I didn't have a dishwasher, so I spent an inordinate amount of time washing up.
He hates washing up.
I hate washing up, and mainly because I have to bend over so low down. And to be honest, it was really hurting my back.
Yeah.
Eventually, so I adapted and got a desktop dishwasher.
Desktop dishwasher
or tabletop dishwasher. You know, basically
one. Pressed a button then, Tom.
Did it wrong? Didn't I can have a whack, can't I? Yeah.
Wash up.
But
no, that's cruel.
But it was a good. But I did have a good adaptation getting a dishwasher that was on my work surface.
Yeah.
And now my back is much better. But
well, that's good.
Yeah, but we do have to think about these things as tool people.
Absolutely. And the other one that I have is I've got a sleigh bed, a nice big wooden sleigh bed, with a nasty, evil footboard.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I've got a gorgeous mattress. But what I've done is I've put the old mattress underneath. Raised up the height of the mattress, so my feet dangle off the side of the bed. I feel like a little girl. It's great though because you get off of the bed. You don't get up out of the bed. I don't have to pull myself up. You know, I'm able, but that just puts a little bit too much pressure on the whole idea of getting out of bed.
So you've got more comfort, and getting out is easier.
Yeah, and
that's great.
Obviously, it looks like the Princess and the Peas bed over there in the corner. I don't care. It's all about my comfort. And so apart from the chopping board and the bed, the other one I have is I have an ergonomic chair. So Posturite, RH Logic, they do this amazing chair. Very expensive. Was out of my price range and my affordability, but I found one on eBay.
Okay.
For about a tenth of the price, and that's fine. Second-hand chair, no problem. Honestly, it is the most comfortable chair you have ever graced.
So what makes it good for a tall person, this chair?
Well, everything's you can adjust everything. You can adjust the height, the back, the seat can come out or can be raised or tilt you forward. So it has so many different variables. And itself, it goes very high, so it fits you. You know,
that's good. So for listeners who won't know what it looks like, I mean, I don't know what this looks like either, and I've got a vision of like a kind of a glorified computer chair.
It is a glorified computer chair with with a headrest that you can put on or off, and arms that do the same. And I thought, arms? Why do I need arms on a chair? And then you sit there and you think, oh, I really need arms on this chair.
Yeah.
No, it's great. So for other toolies in the group have their own recommendations for their chairs, and that's on our Facebook group. So everyone's got their own preferences, but that's my perfect chair. And then we have some members that have put their sofas on blocks, raise their sofas up.
That's clever. Yeah.
So yeah, there's lots of different ways of doing it, but personally, the extra mattress and the marble slab are just quick, cheap fixes that you can try, and if they work for you, great, and if they don't, you can just get rid of them. Really,
I mean, those are excellent ideas, and thank you. And it's really good to see that people are kind of doing helpful posts on the Facebook page. That's marvelous.
They're talking to each other. I don't need to. Nat and I have created a wonderful hub of energy there. And
this is Nat Daniels, yeah?
Yeah, Nat Daniels, the co-founder.
Yes.
And he'll join us one day.
He'll make an appearance, a cameo.
He'll be at the pub on the 16th.
Well, that's good. So basically, for listeners out there, get yourself a chair, and for goodness sake, get a dishwasher. Makes things a lot easier.
Thank you.
Hooray for dishwashers!
No.
Yeah.
What a waste.
Good. So Letty, I think I hear that you're going to a National Trust property. I mean, I love a National Trust property. All that tea, cake, and gift shops. Where is this? So this is an event for Tool Talk Times.
This is an event for Tool Talk Times.
Do tell.
And oh, sorry.
Hello. What was that?
That was my confidence dropping on the floor. No, that was Saturday the 30th of March. So save the date, because I'll be repeating it next podcast. And that's a National Trust meet at Dryham Park.
Where's that?
That's South Gloucestershire, Bath way.
Oh, lovely.
So that's also an opportunity for all those beautifully tall drivers to bring your tool rides, as in your car. Behave.
Yes, do behave. Yes.
To the meet. I know that my son Oscar has a Saab.
Oh yeah.
A black Saab that he likes to drive. So maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to have a chauffeur for that day.
Tool driver, tool transport, if you will.
Yeah.
Tool
absolutely.
taxi. Oh, I'm running out of alliteration here.
Don't worry. I'm sure before the next podcast we'll have an extra load. But no, Tool Talk Times will be at the National Trust, Dryham Park, on Saturday the 30th of March at 11 a.m.
Well, that sounds lovely.
Also, Tom.
There's more.
Yeah. Before then, because I'm going in backwards order because, well, I can.
Yeah.
That will drive you crazy. On the 15th of March, we have our monthly pub meet.
Oh, lovely. 15th of March.
Yeah.
Ah.
So it's at, as I say, monthly.
Yeah.
We've had one, and then we've got the 15th of March pub meet in London.
Fantastic.
And all the location is going to be on the Facebook group for that one.
Oh, look at this. We've got a pub, we've got National Trust, we've got tea, we've got cake, we've got taxis.
Gin.
Yeah. And all with beautifully tall people.
Yeah, I know. It is really exciting because I'm getting texts off of people and messages saying, so who's going?
Yeah.
Yeah, who's going to be there? Selection of beautifully tall men and women.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, it's great. It's fabulous to have so many people coming out and meeting in person as well.
Yeah.
Because the podcast is there to reach people that may be a bit shy.
Yeah, and what we try and encourage is we know that it can be quite isolating as a very tall person, and that some people might feel self-conscious. I mean, I've certainly felt self-conscious over the years about my height, but the idea of Tall Talk Times is so that people can come together and not feel alone.
No.
And it's very social.
Yeah, we've all had plenty of that with the lockdowns.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, it's more than the lockdowns.
I don't have anything
The
more.
budget doesn't stretch that far to something more profound.
No.
No.
So, yeah, let's get out, meet each other in person. You'll spot us.
You will spot us.
Make you feel comfortable. Just basically tall people hanging out with tall people.
That sounds great.
Nothing more than that.
And so, I guess in conclusion, I mean, thank you, Letty, for all that information you've done over the episode. It's been fantastic. And I'd like to say to the listeners, if there are any tool topics you would like Letty and I to discuss, or perhaps put a new slant on something we've already said, then by all means contact us via the Facebook page, and we'll see what we can do. We love hearing your feedback, so don't be shy. Get in touch.
Thanks, Tom. That's brilliant. And for all of you out there, thank you for joining us. This is Tool Talk Times podcast.
Goodbye.
Bye.